Hey everyone, that's becoming one of my favorite songs. I listen to it all the time. And I'm just going to link it to our weekly learning guide this week just in case you want to listen to it too. It's been just kind of a source of hope, especially where she talks about just God being aware of the storms, God being aware of the war that's going on and still in control, and just to be able to trust in that. Even as we see the numbers rising, we see the deaths rising, we see the restrictions growing tighter, but just knowing that we're in the palm of His hand, and we're just very close to God's heart, and He's got this. And so just take comfort in that, and we'll just keep moving forward in that hope, knowing that better days are ahead. And sooner or later, we will all be back together and be learning together at Dort. So I look forward to that. Honestly, it's a struggle, especially as I was designing this weekly learning guide, to think about how the whole process of unit planning looks when we're doing this remotely. So I'm glad for that reason we've already established online office hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12:25 to 1:40 when we typically would be having class on campus. I'm going to be at my computer on Zoom. You guys can jump on with the link and we can talk about what you're writing, the ideas that you have for your assessments and so forth. So it's really our workshop time. You can still get the feedback, the support that you would need, even as if we were together. So just use that time. And otherwise, our lesson guide is fairly simple for this week. So thank you so much for the prayer requests and praises that you guys have posted. Please continue to do that and pray for each other. Okay, so basically the plan for the week is reviewing for the test, which will be on April 14. I'll actually put it on Canvas on Monday, April 13. I decided, so far I've done like a Monday through Friday kind of work week, and this is no exception, except this Friday is Good Friday. So I didn't want to put a major test on Good Friday. I'm hoping you can take the weekend and just pause, relax, spend Easter with your family, just really reflecting on Christ's death and resurrection and what that means for us. So I'm going to give you the review guide this week, and you can look it over. It's just a very short unit, really. The essential questions for the unit are all listed here, so you can refer to those. And the other sub-questions you can look at on the review guide. It will have a lot to do with your beliefs, right? So you've written a paper now about what you believe. You've looked into some research to back up those beliefs. So I honestly feel like you guys are very prepared for this, right? There's only one chapter from Van Brummelen that you're responsible for really having a handle on, and that's chapter 5. And then there were those 3 articles from last week that I had you read about rubrics and standard-based grading and the bucket of points article. So, it's a short unit, and maybe that's, by God's design, since we're kind of trying to do it this way. So I don't want you to stress about it. Just make sure you kind of understand, the difference between assessment and evaluation, and how to do it well, and how it reflects our biblical foundation and so forth. So yeah, just take a look at the review guide linked right here, and I'm sure you'll do just fine. There's a Quizlet set of the terminology, short list of terms, I think maybe 10 in all. I am going to ask you not to use your notes for that section of the test. I'm going to trust you that you're going to know those words well enough that you won't even need to use your notes. The rest of the test will be open book, open notes. Okay, so that's like one thing to prepare for that's coming up in more than a week, actually. The second part is completing the assessment section of your unit plan. So I've reattached the essential documents that we've been using from the beginning, such as the rubric. So you guys recognize this, okay? Specifically, we're looking at this bottom part about assessment, and then there's just one more line at the top of the backside. So just look at those 4 different criteria regarding what we're looking for quality assessment. You'll use your unit guidelines sheet. Specifically on the backside, there's this section on assessment. We're only doing part A, not part B, okay? So there's just 4 little items there that tell you what to include in this assessment section. So most of the preparation that you'll be doing is on the template. So I've reattached that as well so you can grab it easily. Right below that place in the planning section where you stopped, that's where assessment picks up. So you can see where it says pre-assessment, hook, connections, student reflection, formative assessment and objectives, and summative assessment. So it's those boxes that you're going to fill out, right? You'll only fill out the pre-assessment box probably just once, right? So you don't have to fill out every single one of these boxes for all 3 lessons that you're writing. I'm guessing that you'll have a formative assessment in each of your lessons. That's just good practice. We want to keep checking along the way, make sure our students are coming along with us on the learning path. Okay, you'll only have 1 summative assessment. So here's an example. You're not going to fill out 3 of these, and you're not going to make 3 summative assessments. Summative assessment, otherwise known as evaluation, comes at the end of your unit. Okay, so this is also, if you're looking at your unit plan guidelines, you can see in number 4, it says include, I have to read it myself, include the assessment artifacts. Okay, so you're going to have some sort of a graded summative assessment with your unit. You might use a traditional test. I'm hoping that not all 17 of you use a traditional test. It makes sense for some units, but be discerning about that. Let's try to think outside of the box and be creative with the way we assess at the end. Okay, you guys know about test anxiety, and not all students do well with a traditional test. So how can we create assessments that will truly show what our students understand and also be a blessing to them, right? So think creatively when you make that artifact. And I also, for the purpose of this assignment, I want everybody to make a rubric of some kind. Even if you're using a traditional test, maybe there's a section of that test that you could score with a rubric. Okay, so if you want some examples of what that might look like, talk with me and we'll shape and mold, you know, what this could look like for your unit. If you don't have ideas, just popping into your head. Okay, so I think I kind of explained number 3 here as well. Unfortunately, doing 203 this way online means you're nowhere near the TRC or the Dort Library or all those curriculum resources that we were using. That might get a little tricky as we move forward, you know, with this assessment workshop this week, and also as we go into the instruction part of our unit. We're just going to have to be resourceful, right? So that's one of the dispositions that we're working on, and you don't know where you're going to end up teaching. You might end up in a school district that just doesn't have all those curriculum resources that we have available to us right here at Dort. So let's see what we can find outside of the TRC. If you are just dead set on that textbook that you found when we were doing that time in the library, that workshop time, maybe that you did your curriculum resource analysis on, so forth. If you really want that one, order it from the library. I'm more than happy to go get it from the library, scan whatever pages you need. If you can kind of remember the chapter or the name of the chapter, we can even Zoom about that together and find that for you. Otherwise, I have linked some wonderful free open source textbooks or publishing websites that offer like sample copies. You could even order a sample copy. If you need to put a teacher's name, you can put my name. Otherwise, I would encourage you, if you're near a school or you have a friend who's a teacher or a parent or a friend's parent or whatever, if you can get your hands on a textbook in your current location, see what you can do. We have a little bit of time. I think this is really going to come into play when you start to plan your lessons. It's going to be helpful to have some sort of a resource like a textbook, but we'll just be as creative as we can and just talk to me. Let me know if you're in a bind, you're not finding what you need, and we can work on that together, okay? So after you're finished with your 3 lesson plans, basically when you're done with the assessment section, you're going to have 3 of your templates filled out. The front side is all the planning, if you remember, and then the back side, top half is, or the top third is your planning, and then the assessment picks up. So you're going to really take it down to the bottom of the second page, and then that's 1 lesson, okay? And you do that 3 times, at least 3 times. Some of you are doing more lessons in your unit than 3, but okay, so at least 3. And also you're developing some sort of a summative assessment and some sort of a rubric, and that's what you're going to hand in on Canvas by the end of the week, okay? So the last expectation is that you talk to me. So if you haven't already Zoomed with me, set up an appointment, and we've had that face-to-face chat, and many of you have. If you haven't done that already, please do that. Use the You Can Book Me button to schedule a time, or just show up for office hours. I'm going to be doing that Tuesday and Thursday of this week from 12:25 to 1:40. So, all right. Well, I hope that all is going well for you. I continue to pray for all of you, and yeah, we'll just keep plugging away. This is week 3. That's hard to believe, and so far I'm just really grateful for all the work that you're putting into this and just the way you're engaging. Loved the What's on Your Mind discussion board, just a very spontaneous conversation that happened there. So keep that up and keep learning, guys. Very proud of you. God bless.